After that evening, Frank began to see mornings differently, no longer the endless stretches of emptiness. Each day he thought, Logan will come today, and I still have something to teach. He started cleaning the shop, brushed off years of dust, wiped every drawer, lined up tools, as if preparing for a new generation. Logan changed too. From a shy observer, he became more confident, picking up tools, asking questions, fixing things. Every time he succeeded with a stubborn bolt, his eyes lit up like he had just conquered the world. Frank saw himself in the boy 60 years ago. Skinny, curious, hungry to master something. One day, Logan brought in a broken down lawnmower. Frank raised an eyebrow. That was a tough job. Think you can handle it? Logan smiled. If you help me, then yes. Frank didn't answer, just nodded. But inside, he felt warm, trusted, needed, still alive in all the ways that mattered. It took them nearly 3 days. But when the engine sputtered back to life, put, Frank let out a laugh. A real, full, alive laugh, the first in years. That evening, they sat outside the shop, yellow porch light soft on Frank's weathered face. Logan wiped down a wrench beside him. Frank turned to him. Would you like to really learn this trade? Not just as a hobby, but as a craft, a life, something you can be great at, help others with? Logan looked surprised, then nodded instantly. I'd love that. I want to be like you. Frank nodded, and in that moment, it wasn't his heart, but his hope that felt whole again. A few weeks later, a new sign hung above the garage. Miller and Logan, repairs and mentorship. People started coming back, not just for repairs, but for what they hadn't seen in years. Continuity. Frank didn't do much fixing now. He mostly watched, taught, corrected. But his eyes lit up every time Logan succeeded. Every time someone said, that kid's good, must have a great teacher. One day, quietly, Logan added a small wooden sign under the shop's name. Thank you, Mr. Frank, for teaching me not just how to fix engines, but how to fix a life. Frank read it. His eyes stung. And for the first time, he whispered to himself, I never really retired. I just paused to begin again in a better way. Final message. Growing old doesn't mean fading away. It can be the beginning of something beautiful, as long as we stay open, willing to share, and ready to be needed. Remember, you're never too old to make a difference for a child or for yourself. One quiet evening, as Frank was wiping dust off his old tools, he heard a sound at the garage door. Clink, clink. The soft clatter of metal against a steel door, faint, then still. Frank opened it slightly. Standing there was a boy, skinny, messy hair, wearing a worn-out jacket. Next to him was an old bicycle, its chain dangling uselessly. The boy looked up, his eyes glowing in the sunset light. Sorry to bother you, sir, but could you help me fix this? Frank was surprised. It had been a long time since anyone came to him, especially a kid. He stepped out, bent down to check the bike. His hands moved instinctively. Let me see. The bike was in bad shape. Worn tires, rusty chain, wobbly seat. Frank didn't ask why the boy didn't go to the bike shop in town. He knew. There weren't many places left in town for people without money. The boy stayed silent, watching Frank closely, eyes fixed, learning. After about 20 minutes, the bike was rolling again. Frank stood up, brushed off his hands, about to head back in, but the boy asked, Were you a mechanic before? Frank nodded. All my life. The boy grinned. That's so cool. I want to be good at something like you someday. Frank paused. For one fleeting moment, he felt useful again. From that day on, Logan, the boy, came every afternoon. Sometimes with the bike, sometimes just to sit and watch. Frank began telling stories of engines, of war, of long-lost roads. Logan listened, wide-eyed. Frank taught him how to hold a wrench, how to listen to machines, how to be patient when bolts wouldn't budge. and slowly, the old garage began to echo with laughter again. Warmth returned to the silence. One evening, Logan asked softly, "Mr. Frank, I heard you almost died from your heart. Were you scared?" Frank stayed quiet, then answered, "Yes, but not because of dying. I was afraid that if I died that day, no one would remember what I lived for." Logan looked at him, then whispered, "But I would. I know now." Frank looked up at the sky, the golden dusk spilling across the roof. And for the first time in years, he truly smiled. Last days at the auto repair shop, a new journey at 70. In a small town where no one seemed young anymore and time moved slower than in the big cities, there stood an old auto repair shop by the roadside. It was called Miller Auto Repair, but to everyone around, it was simply Frank's place. Frank Miller was 70 years old, silver hair, a bent back, and hands still stained with oil even though he had retired nearly a month ago. He had been with that shop his entire life, since returning from war, through his wife's passing, and long into the years when no one in town could change a tire without him. For 45 years, every day began the same, like a quiet ritual. 5:30 a.m., Frank brewed his strong coffee. 6 a.m., he opened the shop, swept the leaves, wiped down the faded wooden sign. By 6:30, the first engine of the day would roll in. That was his life. Steady, simple, and deeply lonely. Frank had no children. His wife Mary had passed away 12 years ago from cancer. Since then, he poured everything into fixing cars, as if mending an engine was easier than fixing an empty heart. Then came one February morning. The air was cold, the sky gray. Frank was crouched beneath the truck when a sharp pain clenched his chest, like a fist tightening around his heart. He collapsed onto the garage floor, wrench still in hand. After a night in the hospital, the doctor gave it to him straight. "If you don't stop now, your heart will, and not in a way you'd want." So Frank retired. No notice, no farewell party, no goodbye. One quiet afternoon, he shut off the lights, locked the door, and walked away. Miller Auto Repair went silent, as if it had never existed. The days that followed were long. Frank didn't know what to do without work. No one needed him anymore. No one knocked on his door in the dead of winter for a rescue. No more familiar laughs from regulars, no more morning radio, just the ticking clock in his empty house and the silence pressing in. He began walking the town each day, like a ghost. People greeted him kindly. "Hey Frank, you're retired now, huh?" But their eyes said something else. Pity. As if he was someone once needed, now obsolete. Old, like his tools. Old like his shop. Old like him. One night, Frank sat alone in the garage, staring at his dusty tools. He picked up an old wrench, then quietly put it down. And he thought to himself, if I'm no longer the man who fixes cars, then who am I? And at that exact moment, in the depth of emptiness, something unexpected happened. A boy, a broken bicycle, and a small question that would open a door Frank never saw coming.